Racha is situated in the northeast side of western Georgia. In Racha, you can find magnificent decorated temples, interesting frescoes, the patterns of Georgian architecture that harmoniously blend with the beautiful nature, which includes waterfalls hidden in the greenery, crystal clear alpine lakes, glaciers and lush meadows. And in this remote mountain region of Georgia lies a reminder of the country's Soviet past, in the form of a selection of now once again abandoned holiday resorts and a town in the far northwest, close to the South Ossetia border. 1,520 metres above sea level, it's the tiny resort town of Shovi. The resorts that were established as far back as 1926, so just a few years after the Soviet Union was created, in an area that quickly became a holiday hotspot. The area was actually being rejuvenated after a series of newspaper articles on the resort appeared online in 2017. But as we know, a lot of things have changed in 2020 and plans were put on hold back in July.
Racha შედეგად დაზარალებული ოჯახები უსაფრთხო ადგილზე გადაიყვანეს. სადიდებულმა მდინარემ რამდენიმე სოფელში
ვადებში უნდა აღდგეს. მაშველებმა სტიქიის ზონიდან ათეულობით ადამიანი, მათ შორის მცირეწლოვანები გამოიყვანეს. მიყენებულ
ღამის 11 საათიდან შენაკადებმა რიონის ადიდებაც გამოიწვია. ზემო რაჭის სოფლებთან დამაკავშირებელი გზები წყალმაწა.
Over July the 28th and 29th, heavy rains fell, damaging the central highway and also causing heavy damage to agricultural lands, farms and fruit trees, many of which are the main source of income for many families in this area. But in addition, 10 bridges were also washed away down the river, and this meant 4 villages, including Shovi, were cut off from the rest of the world for about a month. And one final thing happened that was not so widely reported on at the time. Deep mud as well as flooding went through the resort town of Shovi, not only damaging but filling the structures under repair with waters and mud, to the point where they will now never be saved. So initially we visited Racha in September and witnessed the repaired roads that now reconnect the region for the first time. However, after our first night, our barbecue, cooked in the open air, returned Jade to an episode of gastritis. So homebound for a few weeks, this is our first adventure into Georgia since.
Staring down a dark road, too late to be turning back around. You know where you gotta go. Don't listen to the voices in the crowd. Oh, keep going, chasing down a wild dream. I'll be right behind you every step. It won't all be easy. So when you feel like you've got nothing left, oh, keep going. Oh, keep going.
Needed a coffee before we started, so decided to use the boot. It's probably not the safest thing to do, but you know, we're good. The car's done us really well this last couple of weeks. I started to get the problem solved with it, and it's working really well, getting us to these locations, because these locations in Georgia, sometimes the roads are a bit of a pain in the arse. So yeah, we're in Shovi in Racha, which is really quite famous now actually. Yeah, it's interesting. This is the most famous mansion. Apparently it was built for Stalin. I bet he never stayed here, I believe. Really massive house, famous, a lot of wedding stuff come here. The thing is, I don't really know why, in terms of like wedding shoots, because yes, it's a great like foreground, but it's quite difficult to shoot unless you've got a tilt shift in my mind, because it's high and you've got to shoot, obviously get the height, and there's no height here. And the other thing is inside, it's pretty hammered. A lot of wood, so a lot of the wood's either decayed or been stolen for firewood over the years. So it's been stripped out. I'll show you it anyway. There's a couple of shots that we did that I also shot about maybe 2 months ago now. I think it was in September. I did an external and one off the balcony I was hoping the balcony shot would be better today because the mountains over there are actually covered in snow, but they're also now covered in clouds, so you're not going to see those in the shot, unfortunately. Apart from that, I'm going to finish my coffee and we're going to take you one in. And then we're going to finish this afternoon over at another mansion that's just up the road here, which is smaller but kind of ornate, but it's right under the base of that mountain, so it's pretty cold.
Keep going. Oh, keep going. You're stronger than you think you are. You can make it, don't lose heart. Oh, keep going. You're stronger than you think you are. You can make it, don't lose heart. Keep going. Keep going. When you think you can't keep going. Keep
Caught this shot in September. It's the one that I mentioned outside. It's easy to explain because for me it's not one that I'm going to take ages over. I'm just going to capture, get my camera up nice and high. I'm going to try and show the view from this mansion. So camera on, tripod set up. I'm going to try and get it as high as possible, like I said a minute ago, to sort of show the only bit of detail really that's interesting is this perforated, all this kind of perforated wood all around the top here. I'll show you it in a sec, but basically that's the only bits that are really any good. Popping it on live view just so I can see what I'm doing. And now I've lined things up pretty good because I've been here before. I know what I'm doing with this shot. I'm going to capture the middle bracket first. So what I mean is I'm going to tilt up, capture the top of the pano, the bottom of the pano, but we're also then going to focus stack. It's something we haven't done on this channel before, so it's going to be a case of you know, focusing first of all on the balcony, capture the shots of the balcony, then we're going to do another set of shots for the outside. So quite a lot of photography basically to get this shot finalized, but it'll look really good and it'll look like a final piece that's actually can see the view, and that's the whole point of this shot really, because there's a beautiful view outside. So let me quickly grab it, zooming in. I'm just going to zoom in here, focus on the balcony. Let's shoot this one. Let's look at my brackets. We are 3 brackets. Just check it. I'm ISO 100. Brightest exposure is 2 stops over actually, 1 stop over and then 0. So we're pulling it up a little bit brighter. I'm going to shoot that one. 2-second timer, stop it moving. Obviously we've got loose floorboards here as well. That's one done. So I'm going to lift the lens to the top. And because we're nice and straight, should be good. I'm going to recheck my focus, shoot that, and then I'm going to go right to the bottom. Oh, my fingers are cold now. Rechecking my focus. Of course, don't need to change my exposure. Even though the lens has moved, it looks darker on the back of the camera, but that's not a problem. Still shoot it as it is, don't mess about with it. I'm going to go back to the middle now. And this time I'm going to zoom in to check my focus, and it's going to be, of course, on that background. So let's do that. I'm going to grab that one as well. 3 brackets, simple. Move to the top again, same thing, but this time, biggest difference is I'm focusing outside, not on the building. It's quite a complicated shot really, it's in terms of like there's lots to it for what is really not exactly the biggest of winners. It's not the best shot I've ever taken. Clouds have dispersed a little bit and you can now see a little bit of that snow out there, so that's pretty cool. And then finally we're going to do the bottom one, and then that's it. I'm basically going to shoot that. Final one done, and then all I'm going to do here, bring it back to the top, obviously close my brackets down, and here I'm just going to get a photo of my thumb just to remind myself when I get back to base. So I thought I photographed this shot correctly, but while trying to concentrate on this video, my focus stacking and fighting the cold fingers, I actually didn't allow for the fact the mountains behind are of course snow covered, meaning they would require an exposure much darker than what I produced. However, I pulled the edit together of this late autumn scene anyway to show you, the watcher, my mistake. Not a problem, I preferred the results from our earlier autumn trip seen here. See this shot here, this bit, I shot that earlier in the summer, I'll say 2 months ago. Someone's going to get hurt in here though, because for me, people keep taking bits of wood and then kind of taking it for fires, bonfires, barbecues outside the front, and someone's going to get hurt because what's going to happen is someone's going to take the wrong bit of wood, if that makes sense, and they're going to end up, someone's going to fall through and they're going to seriously hurt themselves. So it's a kind of place where even 2 months ago felt safer than it is right this second. So for us, we're going to get out. I'm going to get my external and then we're going to get on to the other mansion. Clap your hands to start your videos. I'm syncing my mic up with this, and it's now so cold that my hands hurt, and of course I've got a bust wrist. Oh, by the way, I haven't been uploading any videos for a couple of weeks. I'm a bit delayed, so sorry for that. Mainly because I fell over into Bleaty. I had to go to hospital and I've done my ligament on my wrist. So it slowed me down somewhat. It's not too bad. I thought I'd broken it, had an x-ray. It's absolutely fine. So yeah, I'm actually not going to shoot the exterior today. And the reason why is because I got a shot of this already that's better. And what I mean by better is that there was more foliage, more autumn colours. What I did in a couple of months ago is it was all early autumn, so there was some colour starting to appear either side of the mansion. That's why it was a better shot. And all I did was I got my column highest position. I used my tilt shift 17mm just to basically lift it up. One bracket, one shot, F8 again, or was F7.1 actually, F7.1. So you can't quite see it, but what I then did was got Jade just to pull these tree branches down out of my way a bit because they were in the lens, in the foreground of the shot. Yeah, it's quite nice in Racha. It's nice to be out actually, nice to be out in the wild. You take your tripod or you just leaving that? So there's two shots in this particular building. This one's doesn't seem to be photographed as much as the main house that we went to earlier, because I think it's got a gate around it, and that just puts off like the general tourists, even though it's completely abandoned. I want to get an external of the stairs leading up where you just saw us walk in. This balcony's nice and it's subtle, you know, there's no nasty light coming in. The balcony's over there behind the camera here. They've got some really horrible light coming into the scene. So I think for me, this is the first shot. The only problem is I've just tried to open this door here and it just won't open. So I'm gonna have to try and work around that, which is a bit of a pain. But it's cool. I'm gonna try and get the shots. Grab the old 16 to 35. See what we can do, shall we? Now I have to wear masks here outside all the time, but I think you'll agree there's literally no need whatsoever. You never find when it's cold you try to do your tripods and it's like I can't twist them enough. I just give up halfway, so when I then mount my tripod on the ground, it always ends up sort of folding on me, which is a pain in the arse, obviously, but my own fault entirely. I'm going to set my white balance, I think, on this one to shade because of the autumn colours outside. This place is all about balconies opening up to views, the staircases and stuff. It's nice, but I think opening up to the views is kind of what we came here for. That's one of the reasons why we thought, you know, that we wanted to come to Racha region, because you kind of have the view of the, you know, you've got this derelict mansion, but then you've got the views behind it. It opens it up. It's that kind of nice feeling. Easy 3 brackets. So I'm trying to get these videos back onto a Thursday schedule. So the next video will be on Thursday, part 2 of the Racha series. And from then on, we'll do a weekly video on a Thursday. Second part of this, I've got this staircase here. It's starting to get cold here. The thing is, there's a huge mountain, as you saw in the intro, just there. And the breeze is blowing the kind of snow fields down, and someone who's been chasing the sun for the last 2 years, it's affecting me and Jade somewhat. She's wrapped up really warm. My hands are already starting to get cold, so I need to move on. I've already lined up this staircase shot. It's a really easy one in terms of what you want to do, and it's a personal choice thing. For me, I'm shooting it quite wide. I've got 20 mil on here, and I could go as far as 16. Still looks quite nice. You know, cropping it in, you can see all the windows. You can see all the details that you want to shoot. Lining things up is fairly easy in here because you've got this kind of, you've got some nice lines. You've got this 2 bits of wood at the top here. You've got the arches, so everything looks quite nice. Whether it works, I don't know. I'm not so sure. So what I'm thinking is cropping it in actually a little bit and then just having the wood frame the staircase. So what I've done is just pushed it in, 24 mil roughly. Pushed it in and then used the archway as a natural frame for the stairs. I think it looks quite cool. Again, I'm going to do 2 stops apart. I don't think it needs any other brackets, to be honest. I'm going to focus on the stairs and then I'm going to focus stack it, so I'm going to then focus on the archway as well, because it's quite close to the edge of the front of the lens here. And I think things are pretty lined up. It's looking decent. I think we need to be a little bit further right. Obviously it's wooden, so things aren't exactly perfect in here, but I've got it pretty good. It's a good technique actually. You can zoom all the way in and you can check if things are lined up by, I've got the window frames there, and what I can do is just make sure that I'm lined up. It's easier when you zoom right in. You can kind of check all the details and then you can kind of zoom right back out again, and then you know you've got it. So I think actually for me, it's actually over here a little bit. Well, what I've done there, so I was really struggling further forwards to line things up, get things neat. So by coming back to this doorway, pushing into 35 mil, I've sort of got what I'm looking for. Really nice focal length for this building as well, because I've now got the stairs compressed nicely. I've done 3 brackets, 2 stops apart. My brightest one is actually just over 0. So I'm F8, easy really. My 3 brackets helps me as well, because what I've done is I've then got, like, you can see just a bit of the outside. So I think that's quite nice in here, because the tones outside are obviously quite orangey at the moment, the autumn time, and that's the colour of the wood in here. So I think it'll look really good. And that's pretty much my final shots. If you've liked this video, please hit the thumbs up button and give us a subscribe. It'd be nice to see you around in the future. If you've got any comments, leave them in the section below and I'm sure to come back to you. Until next time, Madlova, Nakvom Dis from Georgia.